Hi, everybody. This is Jay Leeper with Behind the Grind, the professional GM Chronicles. Uh, in our line of interviews with professional game masters, I am fortunate enough to have with us today Camerox. And Camerox is on Start Playing Games, and he has under his belt like 1,200 games in the course of about 3 years. But I don't really want to take away his fire. I want him to talk to you guys more about himself. But we're just very blessed and happy to have Camerox. So, Camerox, thank you so much for being involved with this.
Grateful to be here. Grateful to be here. I think this is gonna be a lot of fun.
If you wouldn't mind, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Some of your background, what you do before game mastering, just things of the sort. Love your shirt, by the way. Perfect.
Thank you. My fiance and I went to GalaxyCon a few months ago, and we saw the shirt, and like, you know what? We need it. Um, about me, growing up, I honestly like ever since like middle school, I've always been in the role playing sphere. Like honestly, even elementary school. Playing games I shouldn't be because I was way too young, but um, I've always been in that sort of like I love the storytelling aspect of like Warcraft 3 custom games, getting into role play, and MMOs and so on and so on. Um, but like some sort, I never really wanted to make it a profession because I want to keep it a hobby because I just love it so much.
Hmm.
And there's a thing about keeping what you love and not making it a job, because if you make it a job, it erodes it, right? A little bit. Keep it precious, keep it your hobby. Um, and in this profession, I don't feel like I'm working. Sometimes I feel like I'm working. Most of the time, I don't. It depends how many walls I have to draw on tabletops. Um, my background, I wanted to get into chemistry. Um, and then I made the unfortunate mistake of getting a job. I worked at FedEx as a delivery driver, going house to house in a big old truck. Loved it. I loved driving. Um, Even before that, I used to do like Lyft and Target and stuff. And I made that my profession for a while. I met my absolutely wonderful fiance, who I'll talk anyone's ear off about it. Made the whole interview about her if we wanted to, but probably not. For your sake. And um, years later, uh, she was about to move away, and I was like, what if I come with? We were living in San Diego at the time, and man, San Diego prices. This is years ago, where one bedroom, one bath. They're going to increase our price to near that of $2,000 a month.
Ugh.
Found a place for half that in Cincinnati, not just outside of Cincinnati, and found a contractor who was going to pay me way more than what I was making in San Diego. So I was like, you know what, I gotta take this. Um, and there, spent a lot of time there. Things were good. I was in much better shape then than I am now. Um, and then my fiance was like, "Hey, babe, these friends at work are going to play D&D," and I'm like, "No, babe, that's way too late for me. I'm gonna play my other Warhammer 3 map games, doing role play on other systems,
Because that's not
Star
nerdy at
Wars Old
all, right?
Republic, right, yeah." Um, and I don't know, the D&D for me, and I totally regret this. Just kind of had this vibe of ultra nerd, which I have thus embraced. Um, Went to my first session, and I will say I love them. Probably the worst D&D of my life, but the worst D&D of my life, I was hooked. I was drawn in. I get to make my own character. There's all these classes, all these different things, all the possibilities. We had a library session, and we had a 3 hour slot once a week. It might have been every other week. I think it was once a week. And real life sessions, someone's always 30 minutes late. Other people have to leave 30 minutes early to get home to kids and stuff. So really, 3 hours became 2 hours, and we're at a table with 11 people.
That's
You'd
a
be lucky if you got.
lot. That's
That's
a
a lot of people.
lot.
Dia was like, just come in, just come on in, just we'll be there, we'll be friends. And you know what? When I learned to at that table just come in to have fun, not to play the game, just to have fun, just embrace the silliness of each other's characters. Or we're not going to make hardly any progress. DM will put something together for some kind of fun. It was like I worst thing of my life, still a blast, still an absolute blast. Regret none of it. Um, and doing FedEx, I'd always have in my ear Treant Monk, Dungeon Dudes, the D4 network guy. So many things. Never really got into Critical Role, I'll be honest. Just I wasn't able to focus in on it. I love Critical Role, love what they're doing. It's not D&D that we get to play, is it? They are absolutely professionals and,
They are.
and worthy of the title. I am a professional in name. I I I do okay. I'm no Brinley Morgan or Matthew Mercer, but we like to strive. We like to strive.
Well, I say that
But
definitely you do a lot. Obviously,
I
I would beg to
do a lot.
differ.
I,
Yeah, right.
I, oh, humble. Um, yeah, I did that. Joined a bunch of Discord games back when Wizard of the Coast, no, D&D Beyond had their own individual Discord since shut down. Rest in peace.
Hmm.
Joined a lot of games. Learned a lot about what not to do, and a little bit what to do. Found an absolutely amazing DM who I was like, man, this is what peak D&D is. And ever since then, I've been trying to emulate it. I definitely have my own style. You can't just steal someone else's style, but kind of like incorporate a little bit. Just like, oh, I like that. I like that. And I'm not great at that. I'll leave that to you. Uh, um, and then here's my inspiration to get into professional DMing.
Okay.
We unfortunately my grandmother died, but in
My
her
condolences. I'm sorry to hear that.
inheritance, right? Yeah, she was on a decline, and um, she think about her every day, and but with inheritance, I was able to get a house closer to where my fiance's parents lived, and I was like days where it'd be an hour to the station. From the station, it'd be an hour to the route, which I will say easiest route of my life. But it was a lot of hour to the station, hour to the route. I'd do like the route in like 8 hours or so. Hour back to the station, hour back to the house. Do the math. That's
12 hours.
12 hours.
That's right.
Yeah, and that'd be on a short day. Usually routes take 12 hours, especially during wintertime, peak season. And I was looking for a career change, and I just scrolling through TikTok, found an ad for start playing games. Like, oh, that seems neat. Um, and I just had that in the back of my mind, ruminating. And my my fiance's family love and adore them. They're all wonderful people. They when they heard I was getting into D&D and getting all these D&D books and minis, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna play D&D," and at our house set up a table of just fully improv sessions,
Mm-hmm.
which like with the background of doing like I used to be a DM of a guild in Sortor, and what we do like an hour or so each day, or maybe a couple hours each day, do a whole like event where I just kind of, hey, here's this cool place over here. I'm gonna make a story revolving around it. Yeah, I've kind of DM'd before in that sort of sense. Never really considered DMing. I was just hosting.
Mm-hmm.
At my family's table, it was my fiance, her mom and dad, and she had two little sisters, so it was a pretty good table. And just seeing how much fun everyone was having, reacting to each other, reacting to me, and all the events that would come. Just seeing the sparkle in my fiance's younger sister's eyes. Like I was like, you know what? I think I'm pretty good at this. I have a feeling I might be good at this. Um, and then I decided to branch out. I was listening to audiobook of Dragon Age Origins, um, a certain like prequel book revolving around young Merrick and Logan for any Dragon Age fans. Um, and I was like, this would make a really good D&D campaign. So I guess that uh, I put up on like a Dragon Age Origin kind of prequel thing on Start Playing Games just to try it out and totally gaslit the players. Oh yeah, this is like just homebrew, and and did the whole opening and going through the story of it all. Um, uh, some of those players still in my games to this day from my very first session.
Wow.
Right?
That
I
says something right there. That's
right.
cool.
Yeah. Um, made some mistakes along the way, but we all do. And then Dragonlance came out uh, around the same time, and I was like, my background is all homebrew, and I was like, a module. I'll try a module. I'll open it, going through it. Oh, this is so cool and all that. And going through Roll20, setting it all up. Back when I used Roll20, it was the time.
I think it's what is it? Shakespeare. It says there's nothing new under the sun. So it really comes down to everything is very similar, even if it's a module that you adopt on your own. What changes it is your voice and the way that you tell something. So that's a very valid way of still looking at it. So that's cool. Homebrew's the way to go, man.
I put up a bunch of games, and it was kind of funny. I had Dragon Age and Dragon Lance, so a lot of dragons. And then everyone only joined my Dragonlance campaigns. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll do modules.
There you go.
Which, if you're a player joining a game, and you have a choice between a kind of homebrew setting or a module, and all other things being even, I guess that it's a very easy mindset of like, hey, let's go to the module. That way, like the story is at least planned out. There's some the bottom bar is a bit higher with it being a module, or if it's homebrew, it could be dog. So yeah, I don't blame him for that.
Got it.
And I think at the time, all right. It was a gradual transition. I was doing like 6 days a week, FedEx, doing like 12, 14-hour days. On the days that I worked, I would come home, and I would have a Dragonlance session. So like my daily routine was wake up, drive to work, FedEx, come home, session, sleep, wake up, 6 days a week, and then on my day off, I made the big mistake. I advertised 4 sessions on that day.
Wow.
Yeah. So like 3 hours on, an hour break, 3 hours on, an hour break, 3 hours on, an hour break, 3 hours on. Just trying to put myself out there, trying to get people. And it was, a lot of learning, a lot of growing. I learned that I can't please everyone. Everyone has their own style. I'll like when someone joins a game, I'm like, okay, here's my strengths. I will admit, here's my weaknesses. I'm not going to be the perfect DM for everyone. Like, I've had a player leave my game because I don't track a non-magical ammunition. And he's like, man, I really want to play a game where I track my ammunition. I'm like, well, I'll be honest. I don't want to take this, the valuable session time to be like, all right, how many arrows do I get to pick up after the battle, DM?
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to play, all the power to you. I don't like taking session time to be like, how many arrows do I get to pick up, DM? But I get the appeal to like the survival element of like limited resources, but it's also like you can say at any given time you maybe have like 30 arrows. Like if it becomes a plot point of like, hey, I'm on the top of this tower raining arrows down. I was like, okay, maybe I have enough arrows to kill like this percentage of. maybe as a narrative element, absolutely, but as a gameplay tracking, we're all trying to have fun, and I don't think ammunition tracking is engaging.
Fair enough. Let me ask you a question.
Mhm,
Your fiance, is she supportive
mhm.
of your career choice?
Absolutely, and
Okay.
um, there was a time where pretty much my route was getting stationed at a different route, so I was having to switch jobs anyways. And I'm like, hey babe, what if I did this full time? Things are gonna suck for a while because those sessions probably gonna take a month or so to fill up and grow. You might have to buckle down for a while. Um, and to this day, I have to give her all the credit because without her, she would have never forced me to go to my first D&D session by the ear.
Fiancés, women, wives, they do that type of thing, so totally get it.
I I'm someone who I don't like to start things, but when I'm in it, I am stuck in it. So we do that to each other. We make each other expand our horizons, I guess.
That's excellent. Well, we'll kind of transition now, and we'll talk about it just a little bit more. But do you remember the first game that you're running, and how did it go?
Um, it went really well, mainly because the book I was basing it off was the intros very well. I don't want to spoil too much of the book, but it is there's a huge plot twist at the start of it, and then it's like you're on the run, and um I kind of try to start all my games the same way as it, very very narrative, like one-on-one character introductions, each one getting like a 20 to 15 to 30 minute kind of solo introduction. Your opening scene of um, Game of Thrones past the White Walker thing. I think it's just like it's I think it's the Stark children, like just practicing, just doing something mundane, just
Hmm.
practicing archery. It's like, hey, what's your character doing at the time? Oh, they're studying this. Okay, you're studying this, and then there's a little bit intriguing there, and then ties it into the plot, and we go through that one by one, and then they meet up through some events, and takes a bit of time, but helps people get immersed in your character's shoes, which is important.
It is very, very much so.
Yeah.
Uh, what has been your most memorable campaign, and what made it stand out for you?
I laugh about it to this day. There's a lot, but the one that comes to mind is the time when someone put Lord Soth of Dragonlance himself inside of a bag of holding. Which
Wow!
now that I think about it, last week that happened to the big bad in around the Frost Maiden, one of the big bads.
Okay.
Also, hey DM, can I just I haven't grappled. Can I just? I was like, sure. So that's happened twice now.
I say it's good to be able to be that DM that can say yes to everything, but really?
I mean, I mean, you can. They certainly may try.
There you go.
Seal from Mount Mercer. Yeah.
Well, so with the number of sessions, I'm sure this has happened, but have you ever had a session go completely off rails? And if
Uh,
so, how'd you handle that?
not. It's tough. So what I like to say in my session zeros is like, okay, you guys can do anything you want. That's the beauty of D&D. However, I will say, if I say your home's on fire and you want to go fishing, we're gonna have some beef about what your character's really motivated about. What kind of campaign is this? But at the same time, I will put like, okay, so maybe there's like a whole place, and they're like, man, they're really specific on this one building that maybe I don't exactly have the content for. Um, I will say, uh, at like a friends table, right? Not non-paid, non-pro DM kind of friends table. I might be able to go, hey guys, okay, if you guys want to go there, I can make something there, but I don't have it ready, or maybe I just bullshit, or maybe I just, okay, random, okay, let's roll some tables, let's make some environments. I think the DMG screen has like roll, like if you're going, if kind of make your own dungeon environment. Okay, you go through a door. What's behind that door? Roll a d100. Okay, it's a barracks. What's in the barracks? Roll in this table. Okay, these monsters in the barracks. Which I think kind of tidbit. I think that's how Chris Estrad started. It was I remember hearing a story of Gary the where Estrad came to be. They opened a door and there was behind just like a random dungeon. There was a room. It wasn't the room. They rolled for it. A vampire. Why is the vampire in the room? Okay, let's say the vampire Strahd, and then Chris Strahd became to be. So some off the rail things can be absolutely wonderful. I would say as a professional point, when things go off the rails, have to be a little bit more prepared because people are expecting things. And
Fair.
I love my favorite players are ones that like to explore and add depth. Love all my players. But one of my favorite ones is like, hey, I'm going to interact with this guy. I don't expect anything's going to happen, but I just want to see what he has to say. And perhaps he's a madman. He's going to speak in tongues and like shout some horrible prophecies. Wouldn't be able to do that if no one interacted with that guy. Kind of same for buildings. You go into a place, random encounter. Maybe I have some certain set pieces. Okay, you go to here. You find these guys who weren't expected to be found by anyone. They're like, hey, we're doing some research over here. A repertoire is healthy to have. Perhaps a series of one shots in the back of your mind that you're able to pull out on a moment's notice. Yeah.
All good. All good. If you don't mind, and this is actually a chance for you to give some shout outs, but who or what inspired your approach to game mastering when you first started? Who are your heroes?
He's actually, yeah. Well, I would, your popular people, Brinley Mulligan, Matthew Mercer, Monkey DM, all that. Also like certain video games like Dragon Age Origins and stuff. Just to be able to choose your adventure, kind of how like, man, take one of the one shots I do is literally just a DLC for Dragon Age Origins that I put into like this is more of a two shot because it's kind of long, and I'm like, I was replaying it and I'm like, you know what, this would make a damn good like two shot, and I did, and people loved it. But it's just a person, not even a professional DM. I'll call him Fel. I'll call him that.
Okay.
I'll call him Fel. He knows who he is.
Okay, let's switch gears a little bit, and we're going to go over now to kind of your philosophy on game mastering. Okay. So there might be some questions in here that might be a little weird, but just bear with me and answer what you're comfortable with. But how do you balance narrative storytelling with player agency, free will? How do you balance that?
Absolutely. I'll say this. Probably a biggest weakness of mine is kind of enveloping the player story. And it's very dependent on the players. Some players, they're just here for the Marvel movie. They're like, okay, when's the next combat? All right, I'm in. Some players really into the story. It's the variety of players that brings it all in, and to balance player agency and what was it?
The narrative, dealing with narrative storytelling. Some people might crassly refer to it as railroading.
A certain amount of railroad is good. A railroad means you have a plan about the course of events. I think a module that does this is really really well and good practice. One of the best modules, Rime of the Frost Maiden, where you're in the 10 towns and you can explore the 10 towns, and the players can explore it however they want. However, there is something impending that isn't exactly obvious, and kind of as DM, you kind of have to leave some breadcrumb trails as they explore the areas. These odd events happening that's kind of everywhere, and maybe this rumor isn't as much as a rumor as previously thought. Definitely as a game master, I'm not the main character. The characters are the main character. If the characters aren't the main characters, then why are they the characters? Why are they here? If the DNPC is the main character, then why am I not writing a book? So definitely they are the heroes, and they get to do whatever they wish to do. Kind of be about of D&D. They get to decide, where we go, how we go, what preparations, who we're bringing along. That is all important, and also like certain modules. There's not exactly like certain events will happen. Imagine. Okay, say you're DMing a homebrew setting called Lord of the Rings. You have the ring. Ring's gonna have to find ways to Mountain Doom one way or another.
Okay.
You're not gonna not have that, right? Party gets split up. There's a whole Helm's Deep thing. Is there a Lord of the Rings story where Helm's Deep doesn't happen? Maybe, but it's a lot darker because then the Rohirrim aren't there for Minas Tirith. Siege of Minas Tirith will still happen no matter what the players do. Events are unfolding. It's kind of like So build up, setting. Some things are progressing. Stuff's happening. Guys, what do you want to do? How do you wish to prepare? DM, is there any rumored ancestors that are having here? It's like, yes, but they're all dead. Is the place haunted? That's a cool idea. Maybe I'll make a dungeon out, right? Yeah. So a lot of I'll say any module. As a DM, you want to add as much, if not more, content to the module as is written. And I wish, this is my big flaw, my biggest peeve about Wizard of the Coast modules, which they used to do in the past. Maybe they weren't called Wizard of the Coast back then, but there was Valve does it where it's if you beat Portal, you can go through it again. There's little speech bubbles you can hear, little voice clippets of behind the scenes. I wish they'd add in little hey, DM note, this is some stuff you can add, and here's some way to add some homebrew to it. Adding. I wish the monster manual had a thing, and I think they're kind of adding a little bit of it now, but I don't think they're gonna do enough of how to make stat blocks stronger without breaking the game. Previous editions had templates, like a fiend template. It's hey, if you want to make this creature a fiend, put this on top of it. Now they're a fiend. Now they'll have these resistances, maybe these abilities, damage types, and so on. That's how you transform things. It's hey, if you want to make a certain boss entity, this is what you can do to make him strong. Because man, balancing encounters for players of 6 people is rough. And it's how much HP am I giving this thing? It's well, if I don't, you guys are gonna kill it in one round. That guy might not even get a turn. Paladin Divine Smites, crits twice. God, that happened recently. We're out of Paladin, just insane luck. I had this entity with creature with some sort of 300 HP. Crit him twice for over 100.
Wow, just wow.
Right. Melts him.
Here, guys, just go ahead and clean it up.
Which happens. Dice rule how they roll.
Okay.
He had his grand moment.
It sounds like it, and that's probably well worth to him the money that he paid for the experience. And that's awesome.
Right.
All right. Do you think a game master should prioritize the story, the rules, or player enjoyment, and why?
That's a good question. I think about it constantly, and I'll say entirely up to the DM, and this is a beautiful thing. All DMs have different styles.
Mm-hmm.
So how I describe it is this, and this is perhaps a longer answer than you're expecting.
Please.
So to make an equivalent statement, I like to compare Saints Row to the Mafia series, like Mafia 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Saints Row, ultra fantasy. I would say Saints Row is like ultimate player enjoyment. Mafia is ultimate rules. God, play Mafia 2. If you drive too fast, police will pull you over, and you have to pay a ticket. In between would be like GTA.
Okay.
And it's kind of like, as a DM, what story do you want to tell? Do you want to tell like something ultra realistic? Do you want to tell something that's ultra fantasy? Saints Row, you go through that, and then eventually you go to hell, and now you're in hell. And never gonna happen in might happen in GTA. Never gonna happen in Mafia series. Um, but kind of just where do you want to put that bar? Do you want it to be like ultra just insane fantasy? Is in this setting like is everyone a wizard, or are your characters like are they insane creatures like in like the Final Fantasy series? When everyone attacks, are they doing flips? Are they doing somersaults? Um, which not to bring it too hard, the Dragon Age. Like the Dragon Age Origins, your characters, you're just a knight. You have a shield sword. You have like some special abilities you can do, but you're just swinging the sword. Dragon Age Veilguard, if you're a sword user, you're still doing some weird magic. You're not just a foot soldier. Even as a rogue, you're doing some like shadow stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's kind of just up to the DM how they want to handle it.
That's very fair, man. That's true. Um, how do you in your games? How do you create a sense of immersion?
Um, the best way I feel to make immersion is reacting.
Okay.
Um, that is like, give some story moments for your characters. I like to at every rest be like, is there any RP between you guys, any interactions? And it'll be, God, there's one dark moment recently I feel bad about, but I think it's wonderful for the story. um, um, One of my players, a druid, got a griffin, raised it from younghood to adulthood. Recently, they fought the big bad, who finger of death them and turned them into bending the rules a little bit, because all big bads do. Finger of death only turns humanoids into zombies. Turned the griffin into a zombie griffin,
Oh.
and that heartbreaking for the party. And during certain rests, there was the barbarian went over to the druid, because the barbarian, it was a demi-lich that was flying, and the barbarian needed to get to it. So he's like, "Hey, can I take the griffin over there?" It's like, "Okay, do it." Griffin went up, got him. Um, actually, I think this is a ranger who's on it, but no matter. And there's like, "Hey, I'm I'm sorry about your griffin. I feel responsible. If I didn't chase the lich, um, perhaps we could have just let them go, and we could have kept them alive." And there's a very very heartfelt story. Um, and in any good game, something's always listening to the party, even if the party doesn't know. That could be, a mouse, could be the gods. Um, the gods hearing your words and hearing their inspiration. As there's this wonderful series that's like, D&D is just God secret wars. There are evils trying to get mortals to do evil, goods trying to get mortals to do good, and everything in between. And if your characters keep trying to do good things, good gods are going to be giving them blessings and so on. If they're doing evil, then evil's like, good, take this power and to commit more evil acts. And so on. And again, kind of a character by character basis, and it's up to the characters however they want to, how much or little they want to interact with them.
Okay.
Some characters, no, I'm clandestine in my own ability. I'm not going to affect these gods. But having to circle back on it, having these moments of like, okay, during your long rest, you receive this vision of this god approaching you, and it's like, what would your character do during this? and really helps people solidify in their shoes. Outside of that, if you're in a village town, I like to, as they're walking, oh, you see, you see these like two kids pickpocket this old man. What does your character do? Um, Events like that, and I always like to end those notes on something a little bit heartwarming. Like, I wish you grabbed the kids and teach them that stealing is wrong. It's like, and they're like, okay, or it's like, hey, those kids might be useful. I'm going to train them to be better pickpockets, and I'm going to make a little orphan army of pickpocketers. It's really cool.
Sherlock Holmes of regulars. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. This is a very controversial question. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you ready?
Alrighty.
What is your stance on fudging dice rolls as a game master?
I have never been glad I fudged a dice roll. Not early on, there'd be a few times, man, do I really want to crit this guy a third time in a row? Now I'm like, fuck it. Dice rolled how they rolled. Other times it's like, man, this guy's rough. It's like, sometimes I'll say, yeah, you miss 7 attacks in a row with advantage. Go ahead and roll one more time. I don't think that's fudging. It might be a little bit.
Okay, so interesting question.
Miss an eighth. Uh-huh.
Are you more inclined to let fudge dice rolls in a one shot as opposed to a campaign? Because you got to factor in player enjoyment and things of the sort. I don't know. I was like, that's just my thought.
Right.
My question.
Right.
Per se.
When in a one shot, people have a certain amount of time. Candles burning, getting low, and it's like, if there ever comes a point of that, sometimes I would just say, okay, we're running up on time here. The fight is, the fight's in its heated moment. It's this person's turn. This attack will decide everything. If the battle's very one-sided, I'll be like, if they have like 1 HP left, I might just knock it over. It was never going to win anyways. And in a heated moment, it's like, okay, this attack will be for everything. If not, the failure state will proceed. Perhaps. In a campaign, things should breathe. Things can take their time. Certainly, if at the bottom initiative, the monster swings once, he's the last one standing. There's 6 players in a row, and then he, if any of one of them hit, I'm like, sometimes it'd be like, it's like 4 monsters low. I might just be like, okay, they're done. We don't need to do this. We can move on to the story, guys. I'm not gonna turn this into a slog. Other times it's like, you're up. Go ahead and make your attack and finish them off. Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. We're going to pivot again, and let's talk about crafting worlds and narratives. Your homebrews. How do you approach world building for your campaigns? Do you build top down or bottom up?
I would say. Okay, so top would be like the main story. Bottom would be like the characters, or like the character story.
Mm-hmm.
Middle being like the meat of the adventure, bridging.
We're talking about world building. So do you just make like a big map and choose this area to start from, or do you okay, you're in a village, and from your village you're going to go to a couple other villages leading to a big town type of deal? I think that's what I'm looking for.
All right. I would say a lot of the world building stuff. I'll be honest. I just like to improv.
Okay.
So I would say bottom up. What are the characters doing? Why are they important? Why are they the main characters? And then as they explore, it's like, oh yeah, this in this world where you guys are from. Those fiends you kill. They're actually this is the fiendish lands, and you just kill them on their own turf.
That'll go
you guys
well.
are the baddies, but also you're fighting against evil, so.
Matter of perspective, absolutely. What's your process for creating memorable NPCs?
memorable NPCs. Um, I would say the more wild and insane, not like a maddening insane, but like maniacal. On any extreme could be like my okay one of my favorite characters in Dragonlance came from just a random encounter of meeting a random Kender, which is like a somewhere between a hobbit and a gnome.
Hmm.
His name's Fiddlesticks, and he wants to meet a dragon. He heard dragons are here, and he really wants to meet a dragon. Sometimes he has different motivations. The recent time I used him, he has a series of jokes that he really wants to tell dragons. And he's like, "Hey guys, are there any dragons over here?" It's like, yeah, we're actually on our way to go kill one. Oh, you're gonna? Why? They just want to hear jokes. Want to hear some?
I'm sure that
And
went over
like,
really good.
right? They're probably so angry and mad because they haven't heard a good joke in a while. I think I could cheer one up.
No doubt. Come along.
Yeah.
All right. Um, how do you incorporate player backstories into the larger campaign narrative?
That's an issue that is strong. I feel like it's kind of a two-way street, where, um, kind of I will occasionally ask players like, hey, what are some keynotes? In your backstory, give me some characters I can use. Why are they here? Are they some players are just like, hey, I don't want to write a backstory. My character's here. We'll find out as we go along. And honestly, vibe. Total just my character's here. He's motivated to go along with the story. We'll find his motivations as we go. And I like to just throw random things like, you recognize this guy, and he's like, wait, someone I recognize. I didn't make anyone. Um, Other times it's like, um, you know, classic story of my family was slain, or my brother was slain by this group of bandits, kind of Red Dead Redemption style. And I'll like toss them in as certain encounters, be it random or set pieces. It's like, hey, you recognize the leader there? He has a certain scar that a person you recognize. You think this is one of the people part of that gang or whatever organization. Um, uh, yeah, it's um, some things to work on for me, because sometimes it's difficult in incorporating it. Um, and uh, sometimes I don't have a lot to go on. Sometimes I have a lot. Sometimes this is where I feel the worst, when a character gives me this backstory and I go through the module and I'm like, absolutely nowhere in here can I tie it back.
Mm-hmm.
Like right with the Frostmaiden. I mean, people like, why is your character in Icewind Dale? It's hard to find out why your character is in a frozen wasteland that is cursed by a god. There, are they hiding? What are they hiding from? Maybe some people go after them. Maybe the whole story is their character's motivation. They seek redemption, and perhaps the way they seek to redeem themselves is by defeating Ariel. That's kind of their whole main story, and we focus on that. Uh, a time when I think I did the best probably was one of those Red Dead style, um, had his own um, nemesis book
Okay.
of people to fight against. Um, Another one was this character's father. Um, they're a warlock, and their patron is their father, but their father is also dead, and they're trying to bring him back. And I was able to incorporate some sort of story where they're able to free their father's soul and return them due to a ritual. It's a little bit dark.
Yeah, it sounds like
I
it.
don't like it.
And that's fun. I think I like that kind of thing. Okay.
Mhm.
So, what many people are plugging into right now is they'd like to hear your take on some pro GM questions, specifically about your experiences and what you're building up and how it went. So,
Mhm.
um, what does the day of a pro GM look like? What typically
It is,
happens?
it is so difficult. I have to wake up 5 minutes before my session, Um,
No.
sometimes I'm kidding. Um, yeah. I used to go really hard, and honestly, at the start of it was really hard. It's like, man, what do these people like? How do I please you? And part of it is learning to sort of stop caring and go, I think this will be fun, or I think this would torment them a lot. Like I'll say, kind of as a DM, I like puzzles, so I don't have to spend a lot of time making puzzles. Um, some puzzles are fun. The best puzzles are like moral quandary puzzles
Okay.
of like, okay, there's two factions. Which side do we help? And kind of treating that as a puzzle. Um, uh, I used to prep like 3, 4 modules at once at a time, and I've learned that is way too much time. And I suffered. Since kind of cut back, only prepping certain modules at a time. Now I'll do a morning session and an afternoon session, and then I have a break, and I do generally do a night session. That's how most of my days go.
Okay.
Some days are a bit more lax than others. And then kind of like if a session's canceled or somewhere in between, I will do a little bit of prep. Go like, spend 30 minutes to an hour or so on each individual session of like maybe make some shops, or like, hey, this would be a cool story moment for this character, and kind of make some like art pieces for some visual aids surrounding that. Um, on days off, I will work on like general work about modules, importing maps, characters, creatures. A lot of it is going, man, why is the big boss of this chapter for a group of level 12 a CR6 creature? Huh. All right, let's change that entirely. Making things interesting, not only for players but for yourself, because as a DM, if you're not having fun, your players aren't having fun.
Fair. Very fair.
Unless the reason you're not having fun is the players are rolling too high, in which case they're probably high-fiving each other.
Right. Hair of a ball. What kind of challenges do you face in your pro GM career? What do you see?
Um, um, probably the biggest mental strain is, will I still have a job tomorrow? Because what even is this industry? I tell people I'm a professional DM, and there's one of two reactions. There's one which is like, what's a DM? What's D&D? And there's two is, you do what? What? And like, even when I tell people that I'm pro DM, like, somewhere in my own soul, I'm like, am I though? I guess I am. I mean, these people stick around and they pay me, but are they having fun? Some players in my Discord, I'd have to check, but I feel like we're approaching like 150 sessions together. Some people are in like 3 of my sessions at the same time, and I'm like, is he having fun? Does he like me? But it's also like, this industry is how many years old? D&D had their 50th anniversary a while back,
That's right. I
and
think
it's
it
like,
came out in 90, or excuse me, 76. So that's quite a
yeah,
few years back.
yeah. So getting close. Yeah. And it's like, will D&D exist tomorrow? Yeah, it's only existed for 50 years. It could end tomorrow. So a little bit of myself feels silly, um, but as challenges, I wouldn't say it's too different from any other kind of career. Like, I am my own boss. I am beholden to myself, but also my players. If my players are having fun, why are they sticking around? So it's a little bit of back and forth there.
Do you ever worry about like burnout?
I occasionally do get burnout. Um, my usual the thing that brings me out of burnout is just to play more D&D. I will be like, again, it's kind of the thing. It's like I don't like to start things, but when I'm in, I'm in. Like it's like, man, the session's coming up. Ah, okay, okay, come on, we can get through this. We can get through it. And then I'm in, and I'm having the time of my life.
Very cool. Um, what does your business model look like? Do you have a business model? I mean, how does that work?
It is really simple. It is really simple. I thought it'd be more complex getting into it. All right. So my business model. Um, so I advertise and do everything through start playing games.
Hmm.
Um, I'll post my games, do a big description, get those set up. I'll post my games, and players will join through start playing games. And I'll put up a price, which I think I charge a lot. There's people that charge twice what I charge, but there's those people that charge half what I charge. Um, I just go with a number really. Um, I'll be honest. I wish I wouldn't have to charge. I wish I could do this for free, but life is life.
It is.
Um, and I people apparently think that my time is worth enough for to pay me, so I will take their money. Like I'll put up a price and start playing games. We'll do like a service fee on top of that, and they also take a little bit of what I advertise, so I get like 85% of what I charge. Um, and then there's like a 10% fee on top of what I charge. But the start playing game has to eat too, and honestly, could not do this without them. Could not do this without starting playing games. Um, what money they take, of course they need to eat too, but also they put into advertising. I don't need to advertise anywhere. I don't advertise anywhere. When it's starting out, I did advertise anywhere, a lot of places. Discords, D&D Beyond, Roll20, How to Form 2. I advertised there. I think through all of that effort, I maybe got one guy. Everyone else through start playing games. So honestly, I have no complaints about start playing games. I'm,
Very
I'm
cool.
very grateful for their commitment to advertising and finding me players. It is worth it.
Very cool. Um, how many games a week do you run? I'm just curious.
I used to do 15.
How did
That
that
was
work? 3 days, a day for 5 days?
yeah, three. I think I tried for three games a day for 6 days. Not all the sessions filled. Um, so it totaled out at 15. Um, sometimes thoughts are more popular than others, we'll say.
Okay.
Um, I'm currently doing 12. Kind of cut back a little bit. Got some feedback. Players like, hey, uh, we like your games. However, we know there's like a totally valid criticism, and I'm really grateful for them saying. But there's like, I notice you're not really putting in time to the individual sessions. So we're dropping out. It's like, sorry to see you guys go. I thank you for the feedback, and I took that to heart. And um, over time, when some of my sessions end, I was like, hey guys, really grateful, love all of you. I need to cut back on my I guess in session, not really work hours, but in session hours for not only life, because also I wasn't doing enough around the house too,
Hmm.
because I was so wrapped up in this, which love it, very rewarding, but at the same time needed to focus on individual stories and also spend time with my wonderful fiance.
Hmm. Okay. What kind of prep time do you put in? I mean, you mentioned getting up 5 minutes before a session, but and honestly, as long as you've been doing it, I can totally see you've got your stuff already ready. You know what you're going to do.
Right.
But I'd imagine at the beginning it had to have been pretty overwhelming.
Oh yeah. At the beginning of it, most of my sessions, I would get home from work 5 minutes before the session, and I'd be like, "Okay, guys, I'm out of breath from running," and 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 we'd go for it. Having done prep, usually like at the end of a session, I'll be like, I try to be at least 2 sessions ahead on what to prep. Um, However, I have learned I am wildly inaccurate about how long things take.
Okay.
some like sometimes I'll do a combat. It will take the whole session. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, this whole like part here should be enough time for a whole session, and they'll go through it and be like, hey DM, I would like to cast teleport over there. All right, you're at the end of it now. So I definitely have certain campaigns like that who I told like, guys, you're so lucky I already finished the prep for this campaign because I would not be able to handle it against you guys. I would be like, okay. There's a whole scene in a certain module who you're trying to get out of a collapsing city.
Mm-hmm.
DM, I cast teleport. You have teleport through all of that? It's like, I kept it because I knew it was going to happen. It's like, okay, well, gone.
We're done.
For usually other sessions, it's like a session and a half of escaping the city, but that dang wizard kept their 7th level spell slot. But prep time. Some weeks are easier than others because some weeks I'll over prep, some weeks I'll under prep. Sometimes I'm waiting on certain third party map makers to release their content, and I'm just like, come on, I need to prep this part. Yeah, probably I don't. You can never spend enough time prepping.
Okay.
That's a curse. I would say probably 6 hours, 6 to 12 hours a week, of just raw prep time.
Okay.
On average.
How many players do you have per session?
I advertise for 6.
Okay.
I hope for 5.
Do you have any issues in regards to? I mean, is it pretty much the same people over and over, or do you get like a new batch of people pretty consistently?
New per session, per individual session, most of them are new. I have maybe like 3 people throughout the I'll say on average of my 12 sessions, there's 5 people. That is 60 people.
Okay.
5 times 12, yeah. Maybe I have like 2 people that are like in 3 of my sessions. I maybe have I'm really just pulling numbers out of my butt. Maybe like 5 people who were in like 2 sessions, and then the rest are all in their individual sessions.
Okay.
So a little bit of crossover. I think I have one guy. He Dragonlance campaign. I think he over the course of him being in my games is in his 3rd Dragonlance session with me now.
Can you hear me, Cameron? I think we lost audio. Welcome to real life, folks. These type of things happen. And the beautiful thing about this is I can hear you. The beautiful thing about this is I can edit this part out, so we're in good shape.
my headphones just randomly turned off. I don't know why.
Okay, all good.
It's yellow on. It's not even low battery, so I'll just plug it in.
All good, all good.
Oh, there we go.
Like I said, I could totally just snip this out, so I'm not too worried about it. But I might keep it just to kind of illustrate, hey, this is real life. Things happen.
Yeah, but like technical difficulties.
Right. That's actually a really good idea. I like that.
Inconsistency. There's like a wire here now.
All right. Let's see here. Okay, so this is a real sensitive question, then. And feel free to talk about it or not, but the question is ballpark expectations on income. If we're a professional GM, what type of income can we be looking at per month in your experience? What are we looking at yearly type of thing? Given that we know that it's going to take time to build up our clientele, our reputation, and things of the sort through, in this case, start playing games.
I would equate this to getting YouTube, getting like trying to get a professional career on YouTube, where like you'll start with low viewership and they'll expand over time.
Okay.
I think my first session, I charged $10 a session. I currently charge 30, which again, I feel like it's a lot. I would rather do this for free. I'd feel my soul would be better, but feel better if I do this for free. Um, but also got to eat, and my fiance eventually we're setting up for a wedding too, so that's big of it. Um, uh,
But she's got to be proud of you seeing what you've turned this thing into.
right, she is so jealous. Um, it did help her go through dog grooming school, which she does love. Her dream job. So now she's doing that.
Very cool.
Uh, so we're both doing our dream jobs. Absolutely wonderful. Um, started doing $10 a session. I see people, because I watch you guys. I see people hosting games, 20 sessions hosted, charging $30 for a shorter session than I do, which is I advertise for 3 to 3.5.
Okay.
Um, some people do play by post on Start Playing Games. I will say this: charge whatever you feel comfortable with. I the more you charge, the more serious your players will be. Because I feel like there's a cost to not exactly professionalism, but an investment. Like for you as a DM, when a player's signing up to you, it's an investment that they're making in their entertainment. And I noticed that the people who join when I charged more, they're more serious about their backstories.
Okay.
They kind of have a bigger game sense, because someone who's new to D&D, they're probably not gonna pay a lot for their first D&D experience. They'll be like, okay, this guy's cheap. We'll just test the waters out a bit, and through players joining me, sometimes I'm people's first. Sometimes I have some interesting horror stories, but I won't get to out of respect.
But this is stuff we want to know. Actually, there's a question that'll be coming up on
right.
problematic players, and we can hit some of that stuff then.
Oh. I've seen a lot.
I'm sure.
You don't get this many sessions without making some mistakes.
Well,
either way.
Let's go back to the thing. For a person starting out, I mean, is it reasonable to think that you'll be able to make at least part-time money on this type of thing? I mean, are we looking at, can a person make $500 a month? Is it just a matter of chance? I mean,
a little bit of it is luck. A bit of it is advertisement. A little bit of it is just being at the right place at the right time. There's definitely people who got here before me, but I feel like I joined Start Playing Games at a good time. I'm seeing a lot of new DMs come here, and I will say, test it out. We could always use some more blood in the arena. That is to say, like, the more DMs we get, the more players we'll get to, and the whole community will grow, which would be absolutely wonderful. I would say part-time. Expect part-time. If you want to make it full-time, you can try to do full-time.
Okay.
There are certain hours that are better. That are, I say better, more popular than others. Like, so I talk about my schedule. I do a morning session, I do an afternoon session, and I do a night session.
Okay.
And I'm on the US East Coast. So the morning sessions, I will get a lot of like Europeans, a lot of British, French, German, a lot of that area, because it's like nighttime for them. So I'll get a lot of them. Afternoon, I will get a lot of like night shift people coming to my games who want to play some D&D, because all night shift people are nerds. It is known. And the nighttime, it's night for me. It's night for people around me. I'll different hours kind of for different clientele, and some hours are more saturated than others, because other people are trying to do full time. So my advice would say for anyone starting out, expect part time.
Okay.
But if you can make it full time, well, go for it. I know plenty of people who do this full time.
The people that do it full time, I mean, are they making, call it like $50,000 a year? Are they making more or less? I mean,
I will say my pre-tax, I think was in the ballpark of 75,000.
Wow.
which I'm currently based out of Ohio, and apparently Ohio loves small businesses, and I don't pay any state tax, or, um, only federal.
Okay.
Um, you know, taxes on groceries and too. So I do contribute to my local area. But yeah, they don't charge me any state tax, which is nice.
That is nice. That's
I,
real
I,
cool.
I think my biggest tax is like Social Security, which is a lot, but worth it.
I would agree. Um, so, how do you handle like no shows? People sign up for your games and stuff like that and don't come in.
Um, if it's their first time, I'll message them, and I feel like I'm overly kind with this. If they're like, "Hey, sorry, I slept through it," or like, "Hey, sorry, something came up," and if they reply like on the same day, I'll be like, "Hey, dude, no chill. I'm gonna give you a refund. Um, are you gonna be here next week?" And yeah, Start Playing Games has their own policy. I also have my own policy of
Mm-hmm.
like one emergency, skip a week. Um, refund through Start Playing Games, by the way, doesn't mean that it goes back to your card. It's like credited towards your account. So it's like a refund. It's like your next game's free. Your next game, you already paid for it.
You've already spent exactly.
Right. Yeah. The Start Playing Games. I think if you show it to support, they might turn it to your card. But it's like, hey, life happens. The, sometimes my life happens, and I have to be like, hey guys, sorry for last minute notice, emergency, family emergency. I need to be somewhere. No session today. It happens both ways. If someone is reliably not there, then it's like, hey, are you interested? Are you still with us? Are you still alive? Did a bus hit you? Uh, and then go from there. I don't get a lot of people to miss my sessions.
Okay.
Um,
That says something right there. That means that they're engaged and want to
right,
make the game. That's excellent for you.
right, yeah, because you're my player's job is to be there to pay me,
Got it.
and yeah,
Okay, so that brings up another question that this is for me. One of my consternations when I was trying to get started is like, do I have the goods? What are the players expecting? From your experience, what are paying players expecting as far as immersion? They looking for good maps, sound effects? What do you do to really bring in the immersion aspects for your story?
this is what I'll say. The most important aspect of what a player is here for is you, the dungeon master. Um, the maps you use matter a little bit. The tabletop you use. Do you want to use Owlbear? Go for it. Do you want to use Roll20? I would say, well, as far as players goes, Roll20 biggest market value. I use Foundry Tabletop because I love it. It has a lot of like automation and stuff. I can make my own shops. So like some my most read it as a player session is the shopping session. Oh, we're going to the shop. All right, that's going to be the next like whole session of shopping. Wonderful. I'm paying this professional DM for my character to pay someone else. So I'm able to expedite shops using that. So whatever tabletop I use is for my own preference. Some people really like it, love it. I'll say it. Players who use Foundry, they generally don't use anything else because they are spoiled. It is for anyone who doesn't know Foundry, I describe it as the Skyrim of virtual tabletops. There's so much to it. We could do a whole interview about it, so I will bridge it there. But yeah, kind of as a player, you're joining for the DM. What do you like about this DM? Does he do combat really well? Does he do narratives really well? Does he do voices really well? The most like it I if I were to be like, hey guys, we're gonna go back to Roll20. I just don't like Foundry anymore. Um, I I did just toast Foundry, and then I just say that. But if I did that, I like to think a lot of my players would just be like, okay, we're coming along, we're just here for you. Like, I did a session 0 the other day, with a bunch of repeat players. I'm like, why are you guys here? What about this module interests you? And they're like, we're just here for you. We're just here for you. You're doing this module, so we're going along with it.
That's
We're
cool.
just here,
That's
right?
very cool. Yeah.
So I would say that is perhaps the most important. Tabletop art matters a little bit. Kind of whatever as a DM you want to bring to the table. Do you want to
Okay.
like I do you want to use like Midjourney for like a bunch of like handouts and stuff? Do you go all out and go extra? That is all for the DM's flavor. When I do that, I do it for myself. Um, so most important thing is kind of you as a DM, how you narrate things, how you involve your characters. I would say that is 90% of it.
Okay. Your storytelling then.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice.
Everything you do combined.
Okay. Um, last topic. We got a series of questions, stuff like that, in regards to this. This is kind of philosophical, also, but
Mhm.
the area is the role of online TTRPG community. So the first question is, what do you think is the biggest challenge facing game masters in the modern TTRPG community?
There's not a lot. I think honestly, this is a golden age, and I think it's only going to get better.
Okay.
Um, there's a lot of wonderful virtual tabletops that most of the time work. I say that I had to cancel the session this morning because I was doing a one shot and D&D Beyond went down for maintenance. It was supposed to end an hour before the session started. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if it's still down. It is not. I'm proud of them.
Okay.
All right.
How's the right?
Um,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
uh, I think we're good. Maybe.
Okay. Uh, how has the rise of actual play content and streaming impacted the way you approach game mastering?
There's certain things you can do in actual play that you can't do in above table. Like I'll say in most of my games I don't do webcam. I think in one of my games I do, um, because they want to do webcam. I'm like, let's let's roll, let's ball. Um, kind of like I do like the webcams because then you get to like emote and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
More so than not, and it's definitely at a table. Um, kind of at a table, I feel like there's less of an expectation of having maps ready. Because at a visual tabletop, I love my maps. I love the visual aids. I love handouts. That is my vibe. Um, at if we're at a table, I'm not going to have a full binder of all the things that and especially on virtually I can make on the fly. Kind of hard. So, hold on, guys. Let me print out this handout.
Eh. Um, what role do you think professional GMs play in shaping the TTRPG landscape?
I would say the biggest thing for us is feedback.
Okay.
Um, of third party content of modules going it's like, hey, we like this part of the modules, this part could use improvement because I'm doing so much. I see like certain flaws in things
Mm-hmm.
and of myself. And definitely providing um a review of content and being like, hey, this is good parts, this is what you can improve on. And I and every and definitely ideas for new content because some players will shoot me ideas. I'm like, oh, write that down. Helping grow and create and add to this community. I get a lot of people like asking me, it's like, hey, how'd you like this thing? Anything I can improve on? And I will like, it's like, first off, it's amazing. This is how I make it to 11. And even with each other, like when a module comes out, that's like, man, this part's good, but this part needs improvement. So let's rewrite all of this. And I love those conversations about how to improve. And it's like, oh, what is your take on this? Oh, how did you start this module? and then I'll go and it's like, oh, this is how I did it, and then it'll add. We leech off of each other to all grow.
Very cool. Um, how do you feel about the responsibility of representing diversity and inclusion in your games?
I there's certain characters that you don't want to see me reenact. It would not be appropriate.
Okay.
Um, that no one wants to see me play as. But diversity is very important. Sometimes I even feel more comfortable pretending to be someone who is not me. Um, uh, you know, just throwing things out there that is like, it's like, oh, this person is one of them. Oh, cool, just like me. Um, I don't strive for diversity. Diversity just happens.
Okay. But as far as like your welcoming of like the gay, lesbian, trans, the
Oh yeah.
GLTB, there you go, um,
Uh-huh.
and that's cool. Do
Yeah,
you?
I'm welcoming to everyone. I'll say this. I again, I don't try to be inclusive,
Uh huh.
but I have a lot of wonderful trans people, wordsuit people, um, who will just like kind of spontaneous messages like, "Hey, I just want to say thank you for making such a great community," and I'll be like, I'm so thankful you feel safe here. That means a lot to me. I'll be honest though, I don't really try. And they reply to me, it's like, well, that's a thing though. Like, it doesn't take any effort at all to try. Like, or like, don't have to try hard at all to be inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
I just like, I kind of like, I'm not someone who has like a giant list of like PDF rules. I just go like, my rule is to not make me to make rules.
Okay.
If anyone does anything where I have to like step in, then we have a problem. Has never happened. Everyone in this whole community has been so nice and so welcoming. Um, I've heard some horror stories, so I'll say it's the world's a diverse place for better and for worse, for people, and um, I just welcome everyone, give them love, like, hey, bring it in, and uh, you know tell them to behave.
Very cool. So we have you had this issue in which you've had disruptive players that have I don't know, been caustic or anything like that?
To I will to leech off of the diversity question, that have been caustic to another player.
Sure.
Not really.
Or even to
Not
you.
really.
Okay.
Yeah. To me, um, sometimes I'll admit I made some weird ruling and someone's like, hey, I'm out, and I was like, well, okay. Like I had the audacity to have an artificer craft something.
Okay.
I had this like, hey, okay, all right, make these start like I had they're like level like 3 or something, and I was like, all right, I don't like to just do like a timeline. I like to have them roll for it, kind of Celeste, kind of Magister style.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, do these rolls, and he just rolled like 3 d20s, all of them like above 17. I was like, well, that was supposed to take a while. You just did it in a couple days. I guess you'll have this uncommon item with like low amount of maximum charges. And then a player's like, they crafted that. All right, I'm out.
Gosh.
Other times I will make a certain ruling like I'll say in my games I allow a lot of stuff. Like I know a lot of DMs don't allow silver barbs. I do allow silver barbs, but with one caveat. Um, I don't let you silver barbs a natural 20. And kind of that extent, kind of like I kind of as the narrator, I have like my own like internal like Bushido code of if my monster rolls a natural 1, I will usually not legendary resist it. I will just embrace the fail. It's like it is meant to happen. That I said so. Um, uh, and another time that happened recently, a player didn't like any form of PvP.
Okay.
Before that, we had a player left. Schedule changes. Life happens. Biggest BBEG in D&D is the scheduling demon. And it was a Dragonlance campaign, and I said that kind of above table, kind of to fit into Dragonlance. I will say only one divine character, so like paladin priest, paladin cleric, druid. You can be bard. Bard has healing. We'll play it off of that, and it'll just be like when you cast these spells, it's supposed to be like unanimous. There's not supposed to be a lot of healing in this world because it's kind of a god abandoned world. But it'll allow one of which, that one of which is the player left. It's like so another player's like, hey, I originally wanted to play the cleric. Can I swap to a cleric? And so he is like leaving these like giant breadcrumbs of like, hey, this dragon army might have the right idea. Maybe we should surrender multiple times. And then got to a certain point, you found a new character all tied up, and no one really interacted with like, hey, do you notice that guy's being very apologetic to these guys who wants to come in and murder us? And so like in at the start of combat, I had more initiative. His old character rolled really high, and I was about to like take control over them and have them use an ability. But I didn't want to take the initiative from them. So like, hey, do you want me to do it or do you want you to do it? And what he chose was way nicer than what I was going to do to the party. And then it's kind of up at the table. It's like, hey, all right, so this is his character is now evil, but he's going to play this character. All right, we're all good now, right? And the player's like, yeah, I don't like any form of PvP, so I'm out. And I'm like, all right. Kind of my philosophy is story first. Whatever most helps fit the narrative, because I feel like at the end of the day that is what matters most is the story. That and players having fun, but also like if I forsake the story for player fun, then am I really being a proper DM? Maybe. But it was a narrative moment to get rid of another character and introduce another character for them.
Okay.
And it was like, yeah, I don't like any form of PvP, so I'm out. And I'm like, well, okay. I'll say kind of I'm pretty loose with characters get to do whatever they want to do. I'm generally not a fan of PvP. Like if you want to do a mock fight, sure. But also like if you're like, hey, our characters try to kill each other. I like to think of kind of my D&D stance of a movie. I'm a director. That character that player would not want to be in Captain America: Civil War. A lot of PvP in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Player characters fighting other player characters. I'm okay for certain story points to happen. I'm not gonna like there's never gonna be a point when it's like yeah, my character's trying to kill you guys, and I'm going to play as this character trying to kill the party. That's just kind of multiple things. It's like one, like if you're in a party like that, why are you playing with them? Kind of overly controlling characters. I thought I handled it pretty good. I could see his point of view. I could definitely see his point of view. But it's also kind of the thing of that's kind of my take as a DM. And no two DMs are the same.
That's fair. All right. What's your vision on the future of tabletop RPGs, and how do you see yourself contributing to that evolution?
My contribution would be all I can do, because I don't know a lot about how it's made. It's feedback of like, hey, this feels good, this doesn't feel good. There's been anything that don't feel good. Certain interesting combinations in the new player's handbook that I'm surprised got through.
Okay.
like the things wrong, polymorph and armor of Agathis. I do see things. I do say we're in a golden age. I do think things are going to get way better. There's Roll 20 has been getting better with their modules. They're about 20 years behind Foundry, but eventually they'll be 19, and that'll be good for them. Uh, Foundry is getting even more insane with their D&D module. I hear anyone interested in Pathfinder. Pathfinder's crazy on Foundry. I hear a lot of really good automation there. I think things are going to get way better, and this is only getting more popular.
Very cool. Camerox, this is all the questions that I've got. If you wouldn't mind, just take a little bit of time to plug yourself, plug your site, your games. If you want to say hi to your mom, I don't care. I mean, this is your time.
I'd love to stay here. I'm also like, what do you mean that's all your question? We've been here for 5 minutes, right? I am Camerox. I go by Count Camerox. I'm really not picky about my name. You can as long as I know you're talking to me. That's all I really care. You can find me on Start Playing Games. Again, I don't advertise on a lot of places. You have to scour the webs to find
I'll
me.
put your link down below when we get this thing going and stuff like that. But that's going to be. I really hope people will check you out. So, but yeah, like I said, it's anything else that you want to contribute or say out there.
The modules I run is I do Dragonlance, which I used to do like 14 of. Now I only do one. Do have a spot open. I do Dragonlance. I do Realm of the Frost Maiden. I do Vecna Eve of Ruin. Having a ton of fun with Vecna Eve of Ruin. Although I'll be honest, it's probably more homebrew than the module itself. But I'm having an insane amount of fun with it. Very very arcadey adventure. I do Chains of Asmodeus, which is like a 9 Hells campaign. And very soon, I'm going to be starting some Dungeons of Drakkenheim. I'm looking forward to getting into Curse of Strahd. I'm a player in Curse of Strahd, so I don't want to prep the module. I don't want to spoil myself on it. We're getting close to the end, though. We'll maybe it's been going on. We play like every other week. It's been going on for like 3 years. Even before I started like pro DMing, it is run by Fell, who is an amazing DM, my biggest inspiration. And what else? Let me get to my Discord. Curse of Strahd, Dungeons of Drakkenheim. Maybe get into some Fendelver and Below and the Sheltered Obelisk. I heard that's a lot of fun. Taking recommendations of it's like, hey, what do you guys want to do? Let's do it. Can find me on my Discord and start playing games.
Very cool. And I'll put links to that as well. So, guys and gals, we want to thank you so much for getting involved with this and having a chance to just be able to plug in and see through the viewpoints of a professional GM. For so many of us that have an interest in this, that are striving to emulate this type of success, Cameron, your time with us is just huge. I just appreciate that so much. But like I said, take a look at the bottom, guys. I'll include a link to his profile and some of his games, and just want to promote Start Playing Games and everything that they're doing as well to our community and just getting it out there. So, Camerox, again, thank you so much.
Anyone has?
Yes, put it down in our comments. Put questions there. If you have suggestions of people to interview, if you have suggestions on topics, things that you want to know, this is going to be the best way to be able to let us know. I want to give you guys what you guys are looking for. So, again, Camerox, thank you so much. I appreciate everything.
My absolute pleasure.
Fantastic.